One of the mods we've had to do to allow for the turbo in the V8 is to move the ABS unit across. It's probably only moving at 100 mil, but there's a bunch of ABS like brake pipes going across the firewall. So rather than just grab them and yank them and stretch them, they look horrible when you do that because they've already been pre-bent. We're going to just make new lines. So to do that, we've got this Aeroflow brake flairer, pipe flairer. So it's sort of it's a pretty simple thing. It's like it's a fancy looking device, but it makes doing this sort of work really easy. So we've just got our pipe size is 3/16 inch. So you've got operation 0 that basically pushes the pipe into the exact spot you need it to do this. Then you go around to operation 1 3/16 inch because that's our pipe size. Just go like that till it bottoms, pull it out, and then we go around to operation 2 3/16. Give it another squeeze. Quick release, pull it out, and we've got OEM spec brake flare. So this is one of the original front pipes. We've just cut it off and put a joiner in it just to make it easier because it's a fairly complicated bend and it's running from one side of the car to the other. So we're just making it easy on ourselves by snipping that off and the rear line as well. So we don't have to make really long pipes. We just got joiners in the middle of them, which Benny's pulled from probably a Subaru, one of his half cuts or something. So it's all factory stuff. Factory nuts reused because they're the good stuff.
Just gonna check the clutch, bro. I'll just put the braided line in, so we're gonna see what the pedal feels like and see if we need to bleed it more.
Give it a pump.
Pump up the jam.
Got any clutch?
No. Wi-Fi.
Not at all? No pressure? Any resistance?
More of the bleed.
Needs a bigger bleed. Make it bleed, Alan.
Down. Up. Down. Up.
Yeah, it's getting better. I think we'll just need to adjust the push rod length slightly, but it feels fine.
Just going to plumb the turbo up. It's got oil and water fittings. These water fittings metric to -6. Turbo inlet. Make lines. Drain it out. All good.
Everything is alright. Don't let it stop, don't let it stop.
So that's just see. Yeah. Is it right? So when we finished last session, we were talking about getting a manifold made by Hypertune. In the meantime, we've decided that's probably going to be a little bit impractical for us to do with the distance between us. It's about 1200 k's between here and there. So we've got the factory inlet manifold and just modified it instead, and that's going to do for the moment. So I've cut the throttle body off one end and put it on the other, and we've changed it to a GMLS style drive-by-wire throttle. With an O-ring for maximum sealage. So that looks all good, throttle body there. The only thing is, this is a bit of a strange manifold and the throttle body's not actually there. The manifold sits sideways like that, so it looks a bit bizarre. It looks like the engine's a front wheel drive V8. But the manifold itself is actually a really good design. It's got good equal lengths and everything works, so it's not going to be a problem for actually practically making power and having good distribution. It just looks a bit funny, but we can live with that. We're just going to use the original 8mm rubber push-on fuel hoses, just the same as what the car had originally. They're sufficient for what we're doing. We've got a fuel pressure reg here that's got like AN O-ring fittings in it. So we've got to match it up to, well, we've got to have the Haltech flex fuel sensor in line with it. Now these are sort of an OEM bit of gear, and so they don't have normal fittings on the end of them. They've got these quick release things, so you got to use these to adapt out to, in this case, dash 6. So what I've done is screwed the dash 6 with an O-ring straight into the end here, as you can see. So what we can then do is just mount the flex fuel sensor directly to it, which saves us having multiple fittings. You end up having a bit of a Christmas tree of fittings if you get too carried away sometimes, so you've got to have a bit of a think about it. So this takes care of the mounting as well. We have that on the other end, and then we've got to adapt it out to back to normal push fit hose. So it can be a bit of a pain sometimes, but you just have a bit of a think about it and you get there. This is one of the fuel rails off the engine. It's got two. They're side feed injectors, so which is pretty common for Japanese stuff in the 90s. They're actually the same injector as an SR20. So we are going to upgrade these. That's why they've been painted in the car, because we're going to pull them out and put D2X ones in them when we get them. So what we've done here is we're going to convert the rails to a semi-deadhead system. So it's going to have a reg up on a firewall, original return line, but we're not going to have fuel running through the engine rails and back to the reg. We're going to block the ends off. So one end I've blocked off with just drilled and tapped it and put a bung in it. This end was where the fuel pressure reg was. I've got a reg adapter, and we're going to screw our Haltech fuel pressure sensor into the end of the rail. So it's going to give us a fuel pressure reading constantly. We can use it for engine safety and also just general monitoring. tracing the wires for the igniter and the injectors back here and then grouping them together so I can then terminate them for the Haltech loom. So it's got 2 igniters, one on each bank. Old school jobs, because it's a pretty old engine. So we've got the dump pipe roughed out, stacked together. We've got a flange just before it passes through, past the head and the rail, because this has to come off any time the plugs need to be changed, which is probably every 20,000 Ks maybe. So we need to be able to get this off easily without having to remove a lot of stuff. So flange here, V-band there. What we've done with the flange is the same thing. Instead of using a gasket, we're just going to pop the pipe through, and that lip helps seal between the flange plates. So it actually protrudes inside this flange, and then we just use a bit of liquid sealant on there so we don't have to replace flange gaskets all the time when we change plugs. Starting the process of terminating the loom now. So I've grouped together, say, ignition, that's all the ignition outputs, they go to the ignition modules. This is all the injectors, plus the little VTC solenoids that are in the same grouping. And then we've got knock sensors, crank angle sensors and that sort of thing. So I basically just got to crimp pins onto each one of those. And then I'll start pushing them into the connector in the correct spot. That's sort of important. Obviously all the injectors have got to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in ignition. Then we'll have to start adding some more critical sensors after that.
So this is the O2 Sensor Bung. The Haltech actually has a wideband controller also that's come with it as an optional accessory. So basically we just need to weld this one actually into this is the front part of the dump pipe. So we just got to drill a hole in here using the hole saw. Say 20mm hole saw to be exact. So slightly smaller, we'll finish the size, and basically drill through, weld it in, off we go.
There has been an epic amount of work on this build so far, and the end is in sight. But we're modifying cars, so there is always more to do. Will the drive shafts fit? Will the ECU run the engine? And most importantly, will it skid? Find out next time on the double unicorn V8 Nissan Stagea build.